I'm here at Brands Hatch for the final round of the Britcar Endurance Championship race held in the dark, and I'll be sharing the Ferrari 458 challenge car with Bonamy Grimes, hopefully allowing him and helping him to learn some of the techniques required for night racing. It's very cold conditions here, so we're going to find that we're struggling a little bit with tyre temp. It looks like it might be wet as well, which makes slightly difference, makes it a little bit easier because the wet weather tyres are much softer rubber compounds. So getting heat and generating heat into and grip into a wet tyre, even in cold conditions, is a lot easier than doing it in a slick in dry conditions. So that's going to help us a little bit. But in terms of getting the car set up, we tend to run slightly softer mechanically to try and generate a little bit more heat in the tyres. And also, as you'll see from the front of the car, we put lights onto the car as well to try and obviously pick up a little bit more of what you can see, because around here at Brands Hatch they don't have any, it's not like at Le Mans or Daytona where it's almost floodlit and it's almost like driving in the daylight during the night time, but here it's going to be very dark. And one of the things that you can do with the lights is a lot more scientific approach to getting them to pick up, because you don't want them just pointing straight ahead. In fact, quite the opposite. You don't really need to see straight ahead too much, because more often than not there's a car in front of you, so you can kind of see where the track is anyway. It's being able to pick up the apexes just before you turn in, and especially as you're turning into the corner, and spot the curbs and the apexes of the corner, and also the exit of the corner, so knowing how far to run to the exit coming out of the corner. And that's the tricky bit at night, when you're literally relying on your own lights to actually see where you're going, because you're travelling at sort of 140, 150 miles an hour, so you're going quite quickly. The glare can be quite bad. We're fortunate that we're one of the faster cars anyway, so we tend to be heading forward rather than having cars catching us. But I can imagine that for them, with us coming up behind, flashing them all the time, that can sometimes be quite annoying. But they've been very good. It's a multi-class system, multi-class race, and I have to say everyone seems to be working very well together and living in quite a lot of harmony on the track, which, bearing in mind Brands Hatch Indy circuit, 1.2 mile track, quite a short track at night, so it's going to be quite important that we all kind of work together.
And conditions could not be more challenging, not only racing at night, but the rain absolutely lashing down. And it's Bonamy Grimes coming to the end of his second season of racing at the wheel for the start. And certainly in the mix, Johnny watches on.
Fantastic. Bon did an awesome job at the start, and in these wet conditions this car is unbelievably fun to drive. But nevertheless, all of Bon's great work got negated with the safety car. So when I got in, I had to overtake the Radical and the Ross Wiley in the GTE, and I really didn't think I could manage it, but we managed to use the traffic to our advantage, get through and give me and Bon an overall win, so both absolutely delighted.
Oh, it was great fun. It was a bit hairy to start with, going out there with the quick guys in front of us and trying to hang on to their coattails as we were going around the track was quite tricky, and there were a lot of people coming off and coming back on. It was quite tricky, but no, it was a great fun race. This car is brilliant to drive in the wet. Every win we've had that we've really dominated has been in the wet. So we were doing a rain dance yesterday and it worked. So I think we'll do a few more of those.
In the murk, almost impossible to see the checkered flag, but the winner is Bonamy Grimes and Johnny Molam. What a way to finish their Britcar season in the Ferrari. Class win and victory overall.
It feels like an awfully long year in some ways, and yet at the same time it's whistled by. So Bon has done, I don't even want to count how many races Bon's done this year, but quite a few, and massively stepped forward. As you say, 6 overall victories from Class 2, including a couple where we won both overall in the same weekend with the Class 2 car. So fantastic results in the British Endurance Championship, and also we've taken in some GT Cup as well and had an overall win in GT Cup with the 488 challenge car that Bon's raced a little bit in challenge. He's done Imola, Mugello, Silverstone. It's just been exactly what we wanted for at Red River Sport, just bringing Bon forward, preparing him. We've got some longer races lined up next year, teaching a little bit more about the endurance side. But I think, and Bon can answer this probably better than me, but I think this weekend with the wet weather and the darkness and just dealing with traffic and getting lights flashing in your mirrors and all of that, I think has really stood him in good stead in terms of experience for the future.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think the beginning of the Britcar season we had a lot of competition in our class, and that we really had to raise our game for that.
Yeah, that's true.
And that set us on a level that I think we then needed to kind of continue and kept at pushing through the whole season. So it's nice to come to a night race like this at Britcar and actually pull it all together, because you've got everything. We had different weather conditions, we had to kind of make choices on the tyres and the strategy. We had night racing, obviously, which is fantastic. We had mixed class of cars, which is fantastic. So it was trying to bring all of those skills together and try and get the car, to a point where I can hand it over to Johnny, but also in a kind of competitive position. It's been a really good weekend.
Absolutely.